It's June and half of the year is already behind us, so are you on track to being where you want to be, or are you struggling to stay motivated? And I know you're not alone in this, but I also know that there is still time to hit the reset button and end the year on the right foot. Listen, it's time to get honest with ourselves. It's enough with the self-deprecating humor, getting to the end of the year and then laughing it off like,
ha ha ha, I'm still a piece of shit, ha ha ha, I still haven't done the things I said I want to do, ha ha ha, I'm still in the same place I was last year.
Becomes a point where it's no longer funny, and the only one that's going to feel the regret down the line is you, and you'll have no one else to thank for that but yourself. So if you're ready to do something about it, continue watching. Let's reflect on where we're at and take some actionable steps so we can make the most of the next 6 months. I wanted to make this video for anyone who just feels like they aren't on track to where they want to be. I wanted to create a space that removes the guilt and the shame away from maybe the fact that you haven't been showing up for yourself, you haven't been being consistent, maybe life threw some curveballs at you. I know all too well about that. I started 2024 off in the hospital. I did not see that coming, so it's time to let go of the guilt and the shame and reset, refocus so that we can end the year where we want to be. Whatever the reason that you are here, I hope that this video can help you start shifting things so that you can end the year where you want to be. And disclaimer, this isn't to say that you need to be doing all the things in order to end the year feeling proud or accomplished. Some of us have been running ourselves into the ground, and quite frankly, we need to be setting some goals around taking more rest and, self-care. But that is for you to decide what you need. So I just wanted to put that out there before people start off with the hustle culture, this and that, productivity, blah, 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 blah. If you need rest, you need rest, and you need to, set some goals around that and really reflect on what you need to change. Let's continue. The truth is, though, that it's so easy to go through the year and kind of like zone out and go into like zombie mode. And next thing you know, it's the end of the year and you're writing the same goals down that you had for yourself last year without actually moving the needle any closer to achieving them. So I find it so important to reflect on where we're at and are we on track? If we're not on track, what needs to change? Maybe our vision has changed and we need to switch up the things we're working towards. There's so many things that can factor into this, so reflection is a big part in this. And we're adults now. We get a lot going on in our day-to-day. I don't feel that the busyness of life should be the reason that we are not showing up for ourselves when it comes to the things that we desire in our lives. So let's get reflecting. Reflecting allows us to find out what's working, what's not working, and it allows us to really just honor what we're doing really well, because I think that that's a part that a lot of us miss. It's so easy for us to pick out the negatives and the things that we did wrong or aren't working. There's also so much power in being able to acknowledge, what am I doing really well right now? What's working for me right now? And taking note of that. That's a sign of what needs to continue, and that's equally as important. But reflecting can also help you make the most of your time. And like I said, we are busy people, so it's important that we are efficient with the time that we do have. I want to provide you with a few questions that you can use as like a little guided reflection exercise. So you can set a 10-minute timer. If you have a little bit more time to squeeze in, you can make that a 15 to 20-minute timer. And then you can just go through and journal these questions. Starting with, what achievements are you proud of so far this year? What challenges have you faced? And how have you grown personally and professionally? So you can pause the video, take in those questions, you can come back and revisit them later, you can take a screenshot, or you can use the guide that I will provide for you. Whatever is going to suit you best, do that, but choose the thing that's going to make sure you actually do it and not just the easiest thing. So if you know you're going to do it, if you have a journal that you already use, go grab that journal, pause the video, go grab that journal and write them down in there so they're ready for you tomorrow. If you know that you're going to be on your phone and you're going to do it digitally, take the screenshot, so do what's going to work best for you. Next, I want to reassess our goals. And maybe you haven't set goals for yourself this year. That's okay. This section still applies to you. We will get into that. So did you make goals for yourself this year? Maybe you didn't make goals for yourself, but maybe you had a vision or a desire of where you wanted to be at the end of the year, where you saw yourself. Maybe with your money, your savings, maybe with your career, maybe with travel, maybe with relationships, family. Like, this can be in so many different areas of life. We all have different desires and goals in our life, and I think that's what makes us all so unique. And then we're all also in different seasons of life, so different things are priorities. So Only you know what those are for you. When it comes to those goals, I want you to check in and reflect on, are they still aligned with what you want for yourself? Or is this a new season that you're in that, maybe you need to shift your priorities to something else? Like, you need to check in and make sure these goals still align. And if they don't, that's okay. Again, remove the guilt and the shame and just honor that this isn't the season for this right now. That's okay. That happens. And I feel like there's so much power in allowing yourself to just honor that and shift gears. So remember, you don't have to make shifting gears mean anything about you as a person or your capabilities. It's just where you're at, and you get to choose to honor that. So if you were in the boat of not setting goals, this is the part where you can start setting some. If you did choose some goals and you decided that they don't really align with what you need right now, now's the time to start setting new goals. And if you did set some goals, now it's time to strengthen those goals, maybe tighten them up or retweak them, or leave them as is if they still stand. When it comes to setting goals, I like to pick SMART goals. So those are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. It's so important to be intentional with your goals so that they are actually achievable and align with who you are and what you need. And then when it comes to goals, I like to have like a overall goal, like a big goal for the year, and maybe I have like 2 big goals for the year, okay? Then I like to break those down into smaller goals to achieve over the months of that year. And then I like to break those monthly goals into smaller actionable steps or tasks that I can achieve to get me closer to the monthly goal that gets me closer to my yearly goal. And the last thing I like to focus on when it comes to goals is action-based goals versus results-based goals. And an example of that would be like picking a results-based goal that would be like, I want to gain 100 subscribers this month, which action-based goal would be, I want to release 3 high-quality long-form videos a month on my channel. That is something that you have full control over versus a results-based goal. You don't have any control over that. I can't control who hits that subscribe button. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, please hit the subscribe button. But I can control my output and how consistent I am on my channel. And I just feel like focusing on action-based goals just gives you so much more power back. Doing things that empower us and that we can track and see and like, it's tangible. I just feel like there's so much power in that and it can be so underestimated. So focusing on those action-based goals that you can actually have control and accountability over. And I feel like I could do a whole video on accountability because there's some of us out there that use accountability as a way to put our efforts or the things we want on someone else and wait for them to be the thing that pushes us towards our goals. You want someone else to tell you to do the thing that you need to do instead of being the person that shows up for themselves and keeps themselves accountable. We wait for someone else, an external thing, to be that thing. And sometimes we're waiting forever because accountability has to come from within. Whether it's you using a physical checklist, when I was trying to stay accountable to getting in the gym, I would post a gym selfie or a selfie of the gym itself on my stories. And like no one knew it was my accountability, but it was a way for me to take control of that accountability instead of being like, oh my God, I'm going to tell my friend to make sure I get into the gym every week and putting it on them. Like, no, this is your goal, okay? You need to show up for yourself, okay? Stop putting it on someone else. I feel like I could do a whole video on accountability and how it's an internal thing. It's not an external thing. And I'm pretty sure I have spoken about this in another video. I just can't remember which one. But I just think that there's so much power in really getting specific about your goals and really breaking them down from the big ones to the smaller ones and making them feel more bite-sized so they feel more easy to achieve because they are easier to achieve because it's smaller, and it's something that you need to focus on right now instead of the big picture of the bigger goal that can sometimes feel so daunting and so far away. And you just take it one step at a time, one task at a time, one day, week, hour at a time. It can just feel more manageable in our everyday, modern, busy lives. And the next thing to support our goals is something that I debated on putting in this video because sometimes I feel like it can be one huge distraction. And I know this from experience, and that is vision boards. So I am a big visual person, so I love vision boards. I love having like a private Pinterest board that I can add pins to. I say this as an extra bonus step to everything else in the video because it's so easy to jump into this part, especially if you're like me, because it's the fun, sexy, fluffy side of the goal setting and working towards your goals and keeping yourself accountable. It's the picking out the pretty pictures, and it feels like arts and crafts if you're doing a physical board, and like it's the fun part, you know, it's the easy part. So I say this with caution that if you feel and only you know yourself, okay? I don't know you. I don't know who's watching this, okay? But you know yourself. You know if it's going to be a distraction for you or if something you're gonna take like weeks on because it helps you procrastinate and avoid the harder tasks that you need to do. You know, so you know yourself. If you know it's just gonna be a huge distraction, you need to be honest with yourself. Either skip it altogether or be really strict with how much time you spend on it. And I think that this can be done within an afternoon. So if it's taking you like any longer than, like if you're spending a week on it, that's already too much. So any longer than that, like honey, you are procrastinating, okay? It's time to come back, rewatch this video, and let's get it together. So you got your goals, maybe you did a vision board, maybe you skipped that because you know that's just not for you right now. Next, we want to stay motivated, but I also say this with caution because motivation is not reliable. It is not something that you should tie your goals to. And I've also spoken on this on another video. Like, motivation isn't reliable. If you are waiting for motivation to be the thing that pushes you to show up for yourself and your goals, then you might be waiting for a long time. Or you might have really take off with your goals with that motivation, but then when it dies, like it always will, because it is a fleeting thing that comes and goes and ebbs and flows, it's just going to be a real slap in the face. So when I say motivation, I more mean like curating an environment that keeps you focused on the goal. And this is like online and offline. So who are you surrounding yourself with? Who are you following online? Are they working towards things in their life? Are they uplifting in general? Do you feel inspired when you come across them in person or online? Do they believe in the things that you desire or want to do with your life? The hard truth is that maybe some of us need to start putting some people on mute on our socials. You know, that button is there for a reason, and some of us need to start using it more, okay? If you think I'm talking to you, I'm talking to you. But maybe it's time to just start spending less time with certain people for the rest of the year. You know, just 6 months, reel it back. I'm not saying cut people off, but some people, they need to be cut off, okay? They need to be cut off. I'm just gonna say that. Some people, we just need to reel it back for a little bit while we are focusing, you know, these 6 months on this specific thing so we can get back on track. Some environments we are putting ourselves in, we know are not the right ones to get us to where we want to be. So we need to have some honest conversations, really reflect on the people we're spending time with, the spaces we're spending time in on online. Yes, online too. All right. There's no excuse like, oh my God, social media is so negative. Social media is so negative because you're choosing to follow people who are putting negativity out there. Okay. Hit the block button. Hit the I do not want to see this button. Start following more people who are uplifting and make you feel good and are showing you how to do the thing you want to do, or who are just making you feel good. All right. Like, it doesn't have to be all motivational people, this and that. But, you know, I don't know, maybe someone's just sharing their love for cooking and you love their recipes. Like, more of that kind of stuff. More of those kind of vibes, so, you know, and less of the things that are making you feel like crap, that are making you doubt yourself, that are making you compare yourself, that are making you question the things that you want for your life because they don't believe in it. Like, really take stock of the people you are in day-to-day conversations with on and offline, people you are consuming on and offline. Just, I can't do it for you, honey, okay? You have to keep yourself accountable here and know, and only you know it, and you do know it. Like, there's no, I don't know, maybe they aren't, like, you know. Again, this can be a distraction as well, okay? Social media is designed to distract us. So just make sure you're not getting caught up in consuming motivational content. And I say this as I have produced a piece of motivational content, but I'm hoping that this can be an actionable piece of content that you take and implement into your life, and not just get on the hamster wheel of consuming without actually implementing anything into your life. That will get you nowhere. It might give you the dopamine hit because you watched a video that made you feel good about yourself, but is it actually helping you move forward in your life, in your day-to-day? Are you actually taking action after watching these videos? That's what matters. That's the difference. No matter how little or small, we need to be taking consistent action. And that brings me into time management. And if you're already in your head like,
oh, I'm so bad at time management, I'm horrible at this.
Like, you need to go watch my other video about self-sabotage as a choice, okay? Because these things that we are speaking, we are creating our own reality and our own self-fulfilling prophecy of being bad at time management. Like, I'm just a procrastinator, I'm just a lazy person, I'm just a bad at time management, and owning that and like making that your whole personality, you ain't doing yourself no favors, okay? So go watch that video after this, but let's continue with the time management. Okay, recognizing the reasons why you haven't gotten to where you want to be so far, why you aren't closer to that goal. Do you need to shift some priorities in your schedule? Is there something in your schedule that is an option that's taking a bit too much of your time? That 3 hours that you're spending watching TV on a Thursday night, maybe we need to make it 2 hours. Like, I'm not saying remove TV from your life. You need to be focused and grind. No, there is a time and place for rest, but we also need to acknowledge, like, maybe I can trim down a half hour here and dedicate it to this. Like, again, I can't do this for you, and I can't tell you that it needs to be 3 hours every this day. Like, no, because we are also individual. This is the part of the video where I am empowering you to use this information, use this guide, and use these action steps to empower you to take the action in your life to say, okay, actually, maybe the 5 hours binging on this day, I can trim it down to 4. And I can spend an hour doing X, Y, and Z. Like, you need to be so for real with yourself, okay? Because, like I said, the only one that's going to wake up with regret is you. And you have no one else to blame for it, okay? Don't even try to blame it on this, that, and the other when you're spending 5 hours binge watching this, okay? I don't want to hear it. Like, be so for real. Are you taking your goals and desires seriously? Like, this is your life. This is your future. This is who you are as a person. Are you someone that shows up for themselves? It's okay if you're not. That doesn't mean that you can't be. It means that you need to be so serious about who you are and how you're showing up for yourself, and you need to start taking the actions to change it. And that's okay. It's okay to be there. Like in so many areas of my life, I am there with you, okay? Are you taking actions when it's convenient or only when you feel motivated? And then you're wondering, well, I did this and this. Yeah, you did it once 3 weeks ago. Okay, good for you. But then you dropped the ball because the motivation left, or it didn't feel convenient because it was raining out. And now here we are. You haven't done anything. So it's like, be so honest with yourself, and that can be so hard and confronting. But when you really like start reflecting and get real honest with yourself and then do something about it and start taking the action, it can change the game. It can change the game. Because I can tell you right now, even 10 to 20 minutes aside to do something, take some action, a task, the consistency of it can add up than just taking the action every 3 months when you feel motivated. This is about you making the time and the space for something that's important to you, for something that you desire in your heart, that your heart is calling you to do. And like I said, 20 minutes might not sound like a lot, but it can go a long way, especially if you're using that time wisely and you're showing up consistently. Like, obviously, if you have more than 20 minutes, do that, but I just don't want anyone to count themselves out because they might not have an hour right now in this season. I just want you to know that there is still time to make things happen and that you do not have to write the year off. You can start taking action right now. Let go of the shame and the guilt that you should be further along or you should have done this. Let it go. That's in the past. We are here right now, and all we have is the time ahead of us and what we do with that. Take yourself seriously now, today. Put in the work and make it happen. And yeah, maybe 6 months is not enough time to achieve that big goal that you set out for yourself back in January. But I'll tell you what, you'll be a hell of a lot closer than you would be if you do nothing after watching this video. So what's your game plan? From here, the next 6 months, what's your game plan? If you're stuck and you need some guidance, I've created a free mid-year action plan that is a free guide for you to use to support you on ending the year on the right foot. There will be a space for you to fill out your goals, your action steps, provide all the things that help me, the mindset, the reflecting, the evaluating my goals, the checking in. I even put a timetable in there so you can visually see the time that you have in your day. And you can add in times if you get up earlier or later, but you can, if your week changes, that you can tweak it to what works best for you. But you can visually see the pockets of your time in your day-to-day and plan accordingly. And I just think it's so easy to just think we don't have time until you actually sit down and really get into the nitty-gritty and figure out where the pockets of time are in your life. So there is a whole time management, time planner in the guide as well. Then there's a section that has the weekly tasks. And this breaks down into your daily checklist. It breaks down the month of the year from June till December. And then each month has a week. And in each of those weeks, you have a to-do list for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, where you can put your 3 tasks for that day to help you get closer to that goal that you can check off. So this is a guide that I've created in Notion for you to use to keep yourself accountable, to show up for yourself. And then it even includes an end of the year reflection where you can really sit back and just acknowledge the wins, acknowledge the obstacles, and kind of just reflect. And I think that can be so powerful to use in the new year when you want to reflect and then set some new goals to work towards. So this is just an ongoing thing of what do I need in this season and what's working for me right now. And I just think that that's so powerful because we evolve so much as humans, and what worked for us 6 months ago might not work for us today. So there is power in acknowledging that and honoring it. If you want to check out that Notion guide, it is linked in the description below. And I hope that someone out there can find value in it because this is definitely something I'm going to use going forward. Have that mid-year reset, so often we wait till the end of the year or the beginning of the year to really acknowledge these things, but I feel there can be so much power doing it in the middle of the year. You don't have to wait till January to work on the things that you want for yourself. It is you versus you, and if nothing changes, then nothing changes. So it's time to change something. You have to decide that you are sick of your own shit and enough is enough. You have to decide that I am becoming someone who shows up for themselves. You are capable of so much more than you give yourself credit for. Remember that, please. If you take anything away from this, take that away. And just because something is all you've ever known does not mean it is all you can ever have. You just have to have the guts and the courage to go after the things you want for your life, unapologetically. So if you're ready to do something about it, I want you to write down your top 3 tasks that you want to accomplish this week. Yes, we're starting even smaller, 3 tasks for the week. Didn't mention it before, but that's another thing you can do. If 3 tasks per day is too much, break it down further. 3 tasks for the week. Because at the end of the day, each week you're still moving that needle forward. So right now, all I want you to do to ease back into this, 3 things for the week ahead that you want to accomplish that are going to help you get closer to your goal, and I want you to get it done. And maybe one of those things is to start working your way through the guide. Set a 30-minute timer and start working your way through the guide. Even though the guide has timers for a lot of the sections as well, like a 5-minute timer, a 10-minute timer, to help you make the most of your time and to not spend too much time in overthinking, as I do so often. So I thought that the timers could be helpful. They're optional, but they can be helpful for some people. So go download the free guide, get to work. I'm rooting for you, and I would love to hear how you're going along the way. If you're feeling stuck on your journey, or maybe you're not taking yourself seriously when it comes to your goals, you're dealing with imposter syndrome and oh, who do I think I am? Oh, I don't want to post. Stuff like that. If you are really just having that self-doubt, I really think that you might find value in this tough love video that I did recently. And just remember that every reason that you have not to do something can easily be a reason that you do something. It's all about perspective. With that, thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing, and I hope to see you tuning in to another video soon. Bye.